This is Church of Uganda Family TV. Enriching lives. Regulated by the Uganda Communications Commission.
Evening and welcome to the Family Hour here at Church of Uganda Family TV. Thank you very much for joining in, and of course this is the Safe Screen Friday. We come to you with a lot of tips on how you can manage your screen time during this holiday. My name is Clare Bwenje, the world's favorite host, and of course, as usual, this is a very great time to have our very own guests right here. And remember, this show is in partnership with Life Ministry Uganda. We are here under the theme of parenting. Well, right about now, allow me bring to you the guests tonight. You have seen them and they're back right here to really share with us their experience. I've benefited a lot from this show, and I know you will too. Invite all your children to watch this show. You're most welcome. Happy to have you, Victoria Tama. Happy to have you, and happy to have you, Owen, on the show.
Thank you.
Definitely say hello to the viewer right about now.
Good evening, viewers. So glad to be back to this space to talk about pertinent issues that we all are faced with in this today's world. Thank you so much, Claire, for having me back in this space.
It's always a great pleasure to have you. Please, Owen, say hello to the viewer.
Hello, how are you? Yes, I know it's a festive mood. Kids are back at school.
I know.
Parents are happy. I pray they are creating more time with them. All we can say is it's good, and it's always a pleasure having you and discussing things that are affecting us in one way or another. We can't wait to have more.
Okay. Well, our topic tonight, and the reason they are here, our topic is managing screen time for our children during holidays. The holidays are here, and I know what every parent is going through right about now. But it is that is why this show is here, to help us, go through the holiday happily and well. But before that, I will really bring you a video from the Wall Street Journal. Please take a look at the video, and we will return to react to what you see today. Thank you.
Perhaps you've seen videos like this appear in your social media feeds lately.
Stop!
The concept is pretty simple. Parents prank their kids by unplugging the child's video game console in the middle of gameplay, and the reactions are viral gold.
I'm getting my weed! Stop! Stop!
No one likes to be forced to stop having fun, but something different is happening here. If you were to take away a child's books or Legos, you're not likely to get a reaction like this. So what's going on here? Why are these meltdowns so dramatic?
I've treated a number of children over years who struggle with problematic video game behaviors. I think one of the most important things to keep in mind is that the child will be able to tell you, I'm trying to not do this, but I can't stop. And I can't get myself to stop. I don't want to behave this way, but I'm struggling.
Why did you do that? That was my game to get into the Overwatch League. You literally just ruined it.
According to Dr. Milham, these reactions aren't necessarily because of an addiction to gaming. Instead, what we witness in these videos are children who are victims of their own biology.
Being able to tolerate the feeling of frustration or that moment of sadness when you decide I'm not going to continue doing this, that is crucial.
One of the reasons the children in these videos find it so hard to control themselves is because they don't yet have a fully developed prefrontal cortex.
The prefrontal cortex is a key component in the brain that's involved in helping us to control impulses and urges. When you have something like the video game being turned off suddenly, the child is faced with having to feel those negative emotions.
Another factor is dopamine, which is often referred to as the brain's pleasure chemical, because it's associated with feelings of euphoria, motivation, and concentration.
Dopamine is a key component of regulating reward mechanisms in the brain. The stimulation we receive from playing a video game impacts the same pathways that are present when one is becoming intoxicated with a substance. So it's no surprise that many of the behaviors and reactions that we see for a child who's struggling with having this sudden stop brought about in their video game playing has analogs to someone who is being asked to stop usage of a substance.
Let's say a child is about to eat a piece of candy. The anticipation of eating that candy gives the child a spike of dopamine. Then their parent yanks that candy away from them. That action will cause a drop in dopamine, which will upset the child. Video game designers have gotten remarkably adept at keeping gamers entranced with a steady source of intermittent rewards. More rewards means a constant stream of dopamine released into the brain throughout gameplay. So when a parent pulls the plug on a child's video game, there's an even more powerful effect.
Video games are inherently designed to be stimulating and exciting and to draw us in, and that to some degree is a healthy phenomenon. It's just that for some it's more difficult to control than for others. Is the video game somehow impairing their ability to function in the home, at school, or with other children? If we're not seeing any problematic behaviors and it's just concern about the frequency, then I think we can work on just trying to bring the frequency down.
For many households across the country, meltdowns over video games are a very real part of everyday life. Parents we have spoken with say they find themselves in a battle of wills with their children when they tell them to turn off a video game and do homework, eat dinner, or go to bed. Dr. Milham recommends implementing 2 basic rules. Number 1, establish clear and consistent rules about the days and time of gameplay. Number 2, enforce a transition period between gameplay and bedtime. Dr. Milham also recommends that parents be wary of an underlying problem. Games may just be a coping mechanism.
One of the most important things is to really curb the video game playing and monitor it and put interventions in place before it's a problem. Once the video game playing becomes a problem, at that point parents will probably need to seek guidance from whether it be therapists, counselors, or other care providers in order to help to assess and deal with the challenges at hand.
Wow, well, such a very helpful video. May I please take your mind on that video, and maybe I'll begin with you, Owen. The last time it was ladies first, but now let's take it up from you, Owen.
I wouldn't still want to skip that. I know she has one statement that she wants to bring out clearly, and then I can pick up from there.
Okay.
Yes,
please.
Tama.
Yes, as we respond to the short video that we have watched, I just wanted to share one thing, that parenting in today's world requires us to be informed and deeply engaged in our children's lives. Yes, true, technology is not the enemy, it is a tool. We must help the children to master responsibly. Over to you, Owen.
Wow.
Thank you. That summarizes a lot of things. But the past many episodes we've done before, we've been trying to share what dopamine is, what effects screens have on kids. We've been trying to bring out the development pattern of brains for young ones. And this very video, Dr. Michael talks about the different impacts of screen time. And here the focus was on games. But the same reward system is integrated into social media, is integrated into different applications that we work with. So the idea is, as we head into this holiday, kids will have a lot of time, free time. Here they've been having timetable classes up to this time, then there's prayer plays, whatever. But now they have all the time to themselves. So they will have to look for how do they utilize this time. Now, as we look deep as parents, even children themselves, it's important to understand the impact of screen time on their brain. For example, Claire saw that between 1 and 3, the kid's brain is looking at learning and developing from things around. That's why participatory kind of learning becomes more important than just watching things. So it's very important that we put these facts in mind, that the same impact drugs have on our brain's wiring is the same impact that a lot of screen time has on our child's mind. That's the reason why the other day I explained that Parents should be more worried about the reaction of our children when we withdraw these gadgets from them, because this reaction is more of it's like they can't control it. They can't control it, and what we were sharing the other time saying is emotional manipulation. And you see a kid rolling, you see her, and you're like, oh my kid, my mental health, I need that.
Like, I don't want to see her.
The truth is, it's better do your parenting as a parent and don't be manipulated with this. So it was very important that we understand what screen time is and how it affects. And that very video brings out clearly some of these risks. And the question is, if the brain is rewired at the same way as drugs of abuse, alcohol, cocaine, and all that, question is, if you want to expose your child to these 2 months, even if it's 6 hours a day, multiply by 60 days and see how much of screen time you would have given these kids. So as they go back to school, they will need actually to recompensate. The brain has to rewire again to get to the rota of school, and then you expect good results. That's the reason why actually most kids don't participate better in first term. Because literally their brain has been rewired in the 2 months, and everything is about the screen, the cartoon, their favorite actor. The 1 minute video has distorted their attention span.
Exactly.
And now in here, we want to bring them back to the system of the school. That's why the school administrators always say that they take time to remold and shape the brains of our children. But when we go back home for holidays, parents disappoint them. We don't do our part. So my first take is that when you've understood the risk at hand, then you get how to better manage it. And that's what this video was about. And I'm glad now it's not from Owen, the digital marketer, the digital citizenship advocate, or Mr. Sember. It's a doctor.
Yes.
It's a research published by Wall Street Journal. And there are many out there. The links, if you go on YouTube and type effects of screen time, there are many published documents. And as I bring to this, last week, my biggest wins were on some key improvements in different countries. Australia passed a law, the Parliament of Australia, that no social media for children below 16. Wow. To me, that was the biggest win for last week. Like, these are nations that embrace this technology way faster than us. They have seen the impact. They've seen the risks at hand for the young brains. Now they are coming in and saying no. So for anyone, kid that is found having social media accounts, TikTok, Facebook, X, Instagram, Thread, mention all of them, there is a fine, a ban. So to me, that was my biggest win. Soon, the biggest thing is that us,
honestly, in Uganda, 5 years you're on TikTok and IG.
You see, the thing is, we are still saying that the digital penetration is or transformation is not much in Uganda. But that's not the truth, because ideally, what I would be taking as the Ministry of Education is trying to bring in use of hand gadgets into school. They should be looking at what are these nations that have seen all this doing. UK now has what they call the COSO. Now, this policy is about Kids Online Safety Act, actually COSA, Kids Online Safety Act. Now they are pushing to implement almost the same tough restrictions on children and gadgets. As Uganda, we are pushing to say, and in our own homes, we are pushing to say, it's technology. People will know, my kid has an iPhone. My dear, you're just competing with the world. But the truth is, those things these nations have just mentioned have done and have experienced it more than us. So I think it's very important we understand what the risk is and what the benefits are. And where as parents, how do we balance? And that's where Tama now comes in with her having done this all her life. Kids are digital citizens, but they're also responsible. And these shows are not about withdrawing gadgets and technology. No. It's accepting that these are tools, but how do we balance so that we can manage the harm and the risk that comes with the digital technology and let our kids thrive in the digital world. So to me, that's the basis. And when we're talking about managing screen time, we're not saying let your kids never see technology. No, we're saying manage. Managing meaning you understand the risk, you understand the benefits, and you know the timing. So, and the other bit that I think we need also to bring out clear is that when you're talking of screen time, more so we want to focus on the entertainment, the pressure, the uncontrolled side of it. Your kid will be having homework, it needs to do research. It's okay, let them do research, but how long does it take for them to do the research? After they've done the research, you still have data, you still have bundles. Yesterday I made them, I tried to think about it, and I'm like, the amount of data that parents are going to buy on these devices for these 2 months of holiday. If every day you calculate and someone is using internet TikTok, at most you use around 2 GBs. You get? Or even more. Question is, in money, you'll find that every day you're spending almost 10,000 on data for your children. And if you have 5 kids, most of a week you'll have a higher even budget. So my point was, in all this time, you're buying data, then they will need new phones, take better pictures and better videos. Question is, how many board games would you have bought? What's hard with having a seesaw or something in your compound? What's wrong with you having a ball and your kids can play soccer with their relatives? There's something that was mentioned in that video that parents need to be aware. It could be actually that you think your kid is on screen, but it's more of like a projection. There's an underlying issue that you're not aware of. But they're using screen time to hide their emotions, hide their frustration, hide their depression, hide their mental issues in spending time alone in the corridor, in the corner of the house, on these screens. So to me, we need as parents, we need as children to understand that there is a lot of good, but there's also a lot of harm. And the biggest harm is that this brain rewiring is like a cancer. Its effects or its impact is not seen instant. It's only until they've interacted with these things that we get to understand that, yes, after 5 years, why is my kid attention span so low? But this kid has been introduced to 30 seconds of TikTok videos every day.
Exactly.
So there is no way the attention span at 12 is going to be better. Now, when you're reading a novel, it's different because you're reading a novel, your mind is focused on this. Your hands are flipping the pages. And then you want to know how this very chapter relates to a different chapter before. Now, the attention keeps in there. But with TikTok, with these new video technologies that we're having, the idea is you must get instant excitement in less than 30 seconds.
And it's done.
So that rewires your brain.
Oh no.
So the idea is we can make a choice as parents and see, do we do it the easy way or the hard way? We'll dive into that. Let me go to Tama.
Thank you, thank you. I know.
Yeah.
Very. And honestly, that's true. And you know, these days you find the children actually telling you, for you have long stories. Just summarize for us. Like, summarize. Oh my God.
Yeah,
wow.
They ask them to summarize because they don't have the patience. We need to understand also that children we are parenting today, what we call the Gen Z. The patience levels are so limited. So we also need to understand as we go through the parenting.
I know, we really. Now, I'll actually take it up from you as a mother. I know all the parents out there, they have always had us. Now they have children at home, and we would love to hear from you as a mother. What's your advice really when we talk about managing screen time for our children? What's your advice? How would you advise a parent there or a child out there to really utilize this holiday in the right way when it comes to screen time?
Yeah, first of all, I must say that is my greatest moment. I'm so happy to have everybody back home, where we are together, because there's so much fun which we are going to experience. So for me personally, it's one of those best moments, having them back for holiday.
I know.
And so, of course, we have been discussing with those who already came on holiday about how we shall manage the screen time. Because like I said, everybody in the house has a gadget, and we are not going to pull them away from them by force, but we have to sit down and discuss. So one of the things I would share with my fellow parents who are watching is create a conversational moment at home. Let home have a safe environment to sit and discuss openly about so many other things, even managing the screen time. Like we've been talking with one of my sons who will come on to share some of the practical things that we do to manage screen time. The other thing I discussed with them early this week was about getting involved in their lives. You know, you talked about how they get into the screen just to hide an underlying issue. Now, one of the things is to be involved, deeply involved in their lives, but also be involved in their interests. If they have asked you to come and watch with them what they are watching, create the time. Find the time, sit with them, watch what they are watching, so that you understand what is it, and then of course ask a few questions here and there to understand why are they watching this and that kind of thing. Yeah, that's one of the things I would advise the parents too. But also the other thing which I don't like personally is, you know, when guests come to the house and then, you know, this 1 year old, 2 years is running for the guests, the phone or the gadget. I don't like that thing. So I hope that as parents, we can help our children and instill values in them, because that is not good at all. We need to teach our children to know their limits. You cannot just run to a guest to grab a phone or a gadget because you want to be happy. I don't like
and you know that the parent will keep, and the person will be like, no, leave her. Leave her.
Parents, observe your children. I know
It's just a child.
I know there are many who will be at work, but even when you're at work, sit down and talk to your children and help them to respect each one's property. Like when the guests come, let them greet them and then go and play, not grab the gadgets. So let us learn to instill these values in our children.
Okay. Oh wow.
The other thing is, of course, we need to also model, lead by example. You know that children will not learn from your words. Children learn from what they see. Our actions speak louder than the words. So of course, many times I'm challenged, you know, when I'm on the screen and I've told them not to do whatever they are. They challenge me, they say, but Mom, you said, how come for you are doing this? Of course, at that moment, I feel so humbled and embarrassed. But we have to lead.
A big combo.
We have to lead by example, model what you want us to. Don't just speak about it, but model it and let them know. But also we need to understand that as parents, we are the first and greatest influencers. We teach our children. And so, of course, there is the issue of holiday time has come. I'm going to pack my children and send them to their grandmother or their relatives. They are saying that to go and learn farming, whatever. That's a very good idea, but don't rush to do that, because then you're missing the opportunity to teach your children. If you must go to the village, go together, spend some time together, and learn together. Don't just hurry and get excited and throw them away in the name of you're throwing responsibility away. Because they've been at school for how long? 2-3 months?
3 months.
And now they've come for a short time and you want to give away the small time with them. Now let's create time. Yes, we are busy. We appreciate that you must work. You must make this money to pay their tuition and live. But we also must create time and bond with our children. So on that point, we need to create family bonding time. And this, we can have so many things to do in this, like playing games together. We have a favorite game as a family, which is called the word game. You know, it's very interesting. It will get everybody engaged.
Very much.
And just bonding together. Very wonderful game. The other thing we always do together is singing together. Find time and sing hymns or songs. And sometimes we are also creative together. We dance a lot to gospel music, you know, because these are teenagers and young people, and they have so much energy. So instead of them going to Casablanca and all those other places, you wouldn't like them to be. Get those JBLs, allow some time for high volume and dance together and enjoy. Yeah, so those are some of the things.
Wow, I really enjoy having you all the time, Tama, because you speak from experience and truthfully, which really I appreciate. Thank you, because
which I enjoy, which is interesting. So sometimes we find ourselves at that table, just me time, and we are there. We are in the same space, and everybody is watching what they are watching. Someone is on TikTok, another one is on whatever it is. But now each one of them wants you to be involved. This one wants you to listen to what they are, and then this one wants you to watch on the screen what is happening, and so you need to find a balanced time. Just create that little time and listen to each one of them. Sometimes it is overwhelming, especially when you are tired or you are being challenged in your own personal life. But as a parent, my dear, we can't run away from these things. We can't hide in a corner. We have to be strong and be present and deeply involved and engaged in our children's lives. And it is fun. For me, I have fun with them.
So have they made you do the challenges? No? You find that telling their parents come?
Yes, they do many times, and they will come in your face and remind you. They'll come and make you do something which is so crazy. But again, I find joy in this because it helps me to bond with them and create that deep relationship as a mother with all of them.
Also, the other thing that it supports, you see, it's very hard to control what you don't know.
Exactly.
So most parents come at a level and say, you get a message, Owen, I'm having trouble with my 14-year-old. Digital and screen time issues are becoming, they're watching things they shouldn't be watching. I've just found out. The idea is, how will you find out when you haven't been in the experience? So it's very important when the experience that Tama is experiencing here and having with her family brings out that Tama is conversant of the digital experience of their kids.
Correct, yeah.
She's even very sure that my children, with the values I put them, even if they had 2 hours of interacting with YouTube, they will choose the right content. But you cannot know that until you find, you understand the digital experience of your children. And how do you understand digital experience of your children? When you have not created time to know what they are watching, their interests while on screens, so that you get to understand how best to parent and teach them in the digital world. And that is very important. Because what happens is, like you're saying, kids are coming, you're rushing, take them to grandmas, grandpas. Yes, they want them. It will help you solve some of this redundancy and exposure to screen. But also, what does is that it will deny you for an opportunity to understand. When my child is with 2 minutes on YouTube, what do they watch? If my child is on TikTok, what do they watch? If your child actually has these digital accounts, you're talking about of social media. So it's very important that we don't deny ourselves the opportunity to understand these digital children we're raising. And when we've understood them, then it will empower you as a parent to know what resources do you need to look for.
Exactly.
If it's about even online experience, how do you create your kid, if she loves music or he loves music, to look for the right content to fit in the interest and talent? Because most of them are saying we are raising digital citizens, they can do better, they can learn math. Yes, you can in that kind of things, but how will you know when you have not monitored their digital experience? So it's important that this holiday, every parent becomes intentional. In your busy schedule, in your busy time, get time, understand what are these kids' interests when they go online. Now, the other easier way to even do it is, for example, if given 1 minute or 1 hour of a kid to YouTube, go into the search engine and try searching. It will bring you all the things they wrote in the search.
Wow.
It's one way you will get to know without even asking.
Oh.
If it's on TikTok, the next video that they recommend will be TikTok videos they've been watching. Even YouTube, that's the algorithms of this technology. They relate with the user, so they know what you're watching. So,
wow. Thank you very much, Owen, and thank you, Tama. The Lord bless you for what you're doing here. We will take a very quick break. The show returns in a bit. Please don't change the TV station.